Okay, the last thing we're going to review is how do we convert metrics. So this goes with learning target. That's learning target. 4, I can use, explain, and apply the metric system when following the scientific method. I think that actually is part of 1, sorry. So when we conduct experiments and follow the scientific method, we have to be able to use the metric system. Okay, so remember the metric system, the standard base units are meter, liter, and gram. Meter is used to measure distance, so that's the standard unit used to measure distance. A liter is the standard unit in science to measure volume, and gram is the standard unit used to measure mass. Next to each base unit, you have the symbol. Okay, so now let's talk about the difference between large and small measurements. So right here, our base units is where our meters, liters, and grams are. Kilo is the largest base unit. It's 1,000 times bigger than the base unit. Milli is the smallest of our measurements, and it's 1,000 times smaller than the base units. Okay, so in science, when we conduct our experiments and we want to share our results and communicate results from people from other countries, we've got to make sure that we use a standard measurement system. Now, since everybody else in the world uses the metric system, that's why in science we also use the metric system because then we can compare our results and we don't have to make any conversions from the English system to the metric system. The metric system is also very easy to use. If you notice, it's based on powers of 10. So deca is 10 times bigger than the base units. Hecto is 100 times bigger than the base units. Kilo is 1,000 times bigger than the base units. Deci is 1/10 smaller than the base units. Centi is 100 smaller than the base unit. And milli is 1,000 times smaller than our base units. So they're very easy to convert from one to another. That's why the metric system is so easy to use. I wish America would switch to the metric system instead of our English system. Maybe one of these days we'll do that. So let's take a look on how we can convert using the metric system. Okay, so when you convert, there are 2 simple rules. The first rule is when we're converting small to large. You're going to move the decimal to the left however many stairs. So if you take a look at this example up here, oh well, this one's the next one. So if you're going from small to large, so if you're going from milli to a base unit, you're kind of moving up the staircase, which is actually in a left direction. So when you're going from small to large, you're always going to move the decimal because you're going up the ladder. You're always going to move the decimal to the left, however many stairs that you travel. The second rule is when you're converting from large to small. When you're converting from large to small, like kilo to a base unit, okay, you're going to move the decimal to the right however many stairs because you're going down the ladder. Okay, so if you take a look at these rules over here, it says the first thing you should do is determine your starting point. So if I'm going to move, okay, from 4 kilometers, they've got the example down here, 4 kilometers to meters. So I'm going from kilo to meters. You're going to count the jumps to your ending point. So look here. I'm going to go down the staircase. 1, 2, 3 stairs. So I'm going to move the decimal the same number of jumps in the same direction. Okay, so I'm going to move it 3 places to the right. So here's 4. The decimal's at the end. You're going to move the decimal point 3 places to the right. Then you've got these blanks. You're going to fill those in with your zeros. So 4 kilometers equals 4,000 meters. And you can see that goes with what we said earlier. Kilo is 1,000 times bigger than a base unit. So if you have 4 kilos, okay, to get to meters, you multiply 4 times 1,000 and you have 4,000. Okay, so let's do another example going from large to small. Down here, if I'm going from hectoliter to milliliter, so now I'm going from hectoliter to milliliter, I'm going large to small, so I'm going to move my decimal to the right. Now let's see how many stairs that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to move my decimal place 5 places to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put my decimal at the end, and then I'm going to fill that spot with a 0. So my answer is 1.2345 hectoliters equals 123,450 milliliters. Okay, so now let's do this example above where we're working with small to large. So I'm going to go from centigrams to decagrams. So I'm going to start here, centa, and I'm going to go to deca. So when I'm going from small to large, I'm going up the staircase. I'm going to move the decimal to the left, however many stairs. So let's count those stairs. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to move my decimal 3 places to the left. So here's my decimal. I'm going to move it 3 places. 1, 2, 3. Put my decimal, and then I'm going to add a 0. So when I do that, my answer is 0.01 decagrams. Okay, so hopefully these examples have given you a good idea on how to convert metrics, and then you're going to start practicing with that when we get to class. So let's make sure we realize our learning target. I can use, explain, and apply the metric system when following the scientific method. So you should be able to decide which unit to use when you're doing an experiment. If you're measuring distance, you should be using a meter. If you're measuring volume, you should be using liters. If you're measuring mass, you should use grams. And then you should also be able to determine what size of unit to use. So, for example, if I'm measuring the distance across our classroom, I'm going to use a meter stick. Meters would be the best unit for that. But if I need to measure the distance from Denver, Colorado to where my family's from in Dallas, Texas, I'm not going to do that with meter sticks. I'm going to go to the largest unit, kilometers. So hopefully through the practice with the metric conversions, you're going to see changing the difference from large to small and small to large. You'll be able to understand which units are appropriate to measure what.